All right, welcome everybody to today's session. I'd like to start off by inviting you to open the chat. And those of you who've been attending these sessions regularly, give me a sense of what's been helping, what's been supporting, and if you have any suggestions of what could make the session better, apart from change the time, then go ahead and let me know. So I'd like to spend the first few minutes just getting some feedback, how these sessions landing for you. We typically have about 100 plus people every night. And I imagine some of you have been coming regularly. And of course, some of you watch it on YouTube and some of you watch the recording, and that's fine as well. So give me some feedback on how are you finding these sessions and what might help. I just loved yesterday's meditation, says Deepali. Yesterday's silent transmission was amazing, says Udit. Roshni said I loved yesterday's too. Partha says great way to wind the day down. Rituparna says the subconscious activation was deep. Seema finds it calming. Roshni says like the silent bit. Sandeep says very soothing and relaxing. So Roshni, when you say you like the silent bit, you're basically saying I should talk less. I get it. Thank you. Keerthinmai says such freedom to lie down, slowly going down to sleep with your lullaby. Want to see you live on screen. Yeah, the thing is, I'm in a place where the bandwidth is low. And even if it's not low, I think at night time, I want you to close your eyes and just rest instead of seeing my wonderful face. So I'm going to prefer to keep my video off for these sessions. Partha says, please conclude with the chantings. They're very soothing. All right, that's good to know. I like that the meditation are different every day, so my mind stays out of it and I surrender. Very nice. Charu finds it peaceful and grounding. And Rima says every session changes a part of me. And Rachel says, your positivity in what we can't control is helping. That's good to know. Smita says, Nithya, helping to be grounded in these stormy times, right? Hira's finding it soothing and peaceful. SKM found the last 3 sessions were amazing. And Shraddha says, amazing wait for 10:30 every night. Oh, that's great. And Ratul says, awesome. And I'm in Assam. Wonderful. Rajiv says it's been insightful at the end of the day. Rituparna, also the sessions between 28th to 30th have been amazing. Yeah. And Mrin says, I usually sleep well after, feel calm, and many times I wake up the next day feeling light and breezy. That's nice. I never thought I will become, I thought my role was to wake people up. I'm realizing I'm putting them to sleep, but how wonderful. Deepali says, the awareness that Nithya is there after the silence is so relieving. And Sujai says, these sessions have brought an inner peace in me. Right. And Shweta says, for me, it's been really good. Timing is good as well. Okay. So Savita says, helping her keep calm. Ratul says, subconscious mind meditation in Hindi, please. Hindi, please. I think this is, you will have to find a way to translate because this is, I don't have as much of access to what I want to say in Hindi. So yeah, we can, once in a while, we'll do some Hindi, but most of these sessions are probably going to be in English. Achyut says, sessions are very good. Daily, I'm waiting for 10:30. That's nice to know. Tapaswini says, chakra activation, wonderful experience. Dimpy says, I really found it good to breathe for people who are struggling to breathe. Yeah, that's always a good thing. Renuka finds it calming. NGR says, 3 days ago, the awesome in you for 2 hours. Great. Pinky's laughing when I said talk less. Okay, great. There's so many. I don't think I can read all the comments. There's so many of them. But yeah, good to get this feedback. And you should feel free to give me inputs because I'm happy to learn with all of you what's working, what's not working. You are a divine anchor in this phase of transition. Thank you, Muskan. I'm happy that I can be of some support. All right, let's get going. So I'd like you to sit or lie down, be comfortable. I'm actually today very powerful where I am, very powerful, stormy weather, lots of thunder and lightning. In fact, I have made Paddy the co host because there is a small chance that my internet might not survive the storm, in which case she will take over the session. So just be aware of that. And, but hopefully it'll be fine. Today's session will be on the gentle flow of love. So it's going to be a less intense session. Who knows? For some of you, this will also be intense. And intensity is not bad. It's great. Yeah, that's right. We have 108 people on the call. It's amazing. All right. So please be comfortable. When I say the word love, each one of you has some understanding of what that word means. And what is that feeling? What is that attitude? What is that stance of love? So, in your own way, I'm not going to tell you how to feel love. Whatever love means to you. Sometimes it's easier to think of an experience of love. So, maybe some of you love a pet, or you love a sibling, which is rare, or you love a friend. And of course, there's romantic love and all kinds of love. But we're not going to get into all that, different kinds of love. It's just simply the word love. When I say love, go ahead and tune in to what that feels like. To me, love is actually more of an attitude than a feeling. The feeling follows the attitude. It's helpful for me to see love as an attitude because sometimes, even if it's not feeling that great, the attitude is what keeps it on track. So, in today's session, we shall try to sustain and maintain and remain in that attitude of love, from which various feelings, emotions flow, might or might not come. So when I say love, what happens in your being? What adjustment happens? What happens in your heart? And in today's session, it's less about, while both are important, I mean, it's important to receive love as well. But in this session, it's going to be, because receiving, the other person may or may not, acknowledge you the way you hope they do. In this session, we're just going to be focusing on giving, tuning in, radiating. And one thing powerful that I've experienced is in the moment of giving, in the moment of radiating love, in that precise moment, you have yourself drenched yourself in love. It's like I cannot curse you without cursing myself, and I cannot bless you without blessing myself. I cannot judge you without undermining myself. I cannot lift you up without elevating myself. This is a very strange feature of this universe. So, whatever the word love means to you, whatever it activates within you, keep coming back to that. If it helps you to align it with breath, do so. Otherwise, nothing is needed. It's really simple. Be in that state of love. And let there be a gentle flow, like the gentlest yet very pleasant breeze. That breeze which carries the fragrance of unnameable flowers. Quite exquisite. And if it helps, then for some of you, a sense that a gentle breeze is flowing out of your heart. It's a gentle, fragrant breeze. Gentle, fragrant breeze blowing out of your heart. And somehow, even though it's gentle, it doesn't seem to stop. It doesn't seem to end. Like a fan that's going very slow. Yeah, the air might only go so far, but in this case, because it's subtler than air, it doesn't seem to stop. It just keeps going. It just keeps spreading. It just keeps radiating. And nor is it like light, which can get blocked by some obstacle. This can go around obstacles. This can penetrate into and through everything. This intelligence of love that's gently blowing through your heart. And of course, every part of your being, but heart is nice as well. It's finding its own way and it's going where it needs to go. So whoever needs this little bit of a boost, could be someone in your family, could be someone in your neighborhood, could be someone you work with. You know, one thing very fascinating is that you actually don't know how people are struggling. It happens so often. I was doing a session for some lawyers. There was a very young, bold, upcoming, very admired young lady who had such a promising career. And she ended her life. And everyone was so struck. How could this young woman end her life? She was so promising. She was, that a couple of days before, she had been with all the colleagues and they were laughing and having pizza. And she ended her life. In other words, they may pretend to be okay. So just because outwardly someone seems to be fine and, you know, integrated, you don't really know what hidden burdens they're carrying, what inner struggles they're going through. So don't presume that you know what's happening. Let this love find its way. It's gently radiating out of your heart. And let's expand from the heart, your entire being. It's nice to also relax the idea of seeing yourself as a physical body. See yourself as a field of intelligence, a field of vibration, frequency, a field of all of this, a matrix of light. And through this matrix of light, through this field of resonance, invisible yet very tangible, gentle flow of love emerges, radiating in all directions, radiating in all directions, going where it needs to go, not limited by time or space or distance, the way most things are. If I can pick up my phone and call someone on the opposite end of the world, the opposite side of the world, and there's no lag in the conversation. I mean, it's amazing. I can call someone in Chile, sitting in India, and we can talk like there's no lag. That's remarkable. So if ordinary technology, ordinary or extraordinary technology can do that, then love can also do that. Love has no limit, no boundary, no time or space restrictions. In this moment, just keep generating, radiating. Whenever the mind wanders, come back to love, whatever love means to you. And they say love will find a way. Love is finding a way. And you cannot love without ennobling yourself, elevating yourself, saturating yourself. As you give, you are automatically being replenished. So today, I don't want you to necessarily think of where this love needs to go, whether it's sick people or whether it's this country or that country or this group or that group. I want you to not assume who needs this love. But like the example I gave earlier, we don't really know. Sometimes someone who's appearing to be very strong is fighting a very strong, very heavy battle on the inside. We don't know this. Most of us, if you're honest, we have been there. We have pretended to be stronger than we are. So a gentle yet steady flow of love radiating in all directions, unrestricted by distance, by time, by space, by dimension, by anything actually. And as you're tuning into and being a channel of this love, a deep restructuring is happening. A deep restructuring of your subconscious belief patterns about what this world is like, what this life is like, who you are, who others are. It's almost like a huge overhaul of the entire operating system. Just like when I go from one country to the other, culture changes, laws change, which side of the road you drive on changes. So many things change, dress patterns change. Like, wow, is this the same? Like, can't even imagine. This country is so different. And that's just on a physical level. So with love, an upgrade happens, you will scarcely be able to recognize the person you were before. There are a few things I can say with as much conviction as what I'm saying right now. You will scarcely recognize the person you were before. And all you got to do is to allow yourself to align with this gentle flow, this emanation, this radiation, this expansion of love, whatever love means to you. You can't do this wrong. Very powerful teaching by Guru Nanak. If you don't see God in all, you can't see God at all. It's a non-dual vision. There's nothing there that is not divine. There's a story I heard about a man who maybe he had diabetes or something and he couldn't hold himself during prayer. He just got up and went to the wall and urinated. And people really began beating him up. How dare you urinate in a place of worship? And the story goes that Prophet Muhammad immediately intervened and stopped everybody and said, "Why are you beating this man? He urinated in a place of worship. He has no respect." So Prophet Muhammad said, "All right. So where should he urinate? Which place is not the land, the ground of the divine? Which place is not holy?" And they all became silent. What a beautiful story. Right here is holy ground. Right here I shall build my sanctuary. So there's never a wrong time, there's never a wrong place to access and channel this attitude of love, this radiance of love, whatever love means to you. And in my understanding, this is not just an emotion or a feeling, or like the fancy word in psychology is affect. No, this is an intelligence. And actually, some people may not like to hear this, but the reality is these are levels of consciousness that go beyond reason. This is a world that celebrates logic and rationale, logical thinking. You think of things like love as sentimental. Actually, it's not true at all. Love is a far higher intelligence, a whole different magnitude, a whole different order of intelligence, a whole different level of consciousness. It is the recognition of your oneness with all things. It's only when you see yourself as one with the other, and indeed with everything, that's when there is true love. Nisargadatta Maharaj, one of my teachers, said, "When I see myself as everything, that is love. When I see myself as nothing, that is wisdom. Between these two, this life flows." A wonderful teaching by Rumi. This world is in big trouble from bottom to top. Bottom to top, top to bottom. This world is in big trouble. As we all know, this world is in big trouble. If you haven't heard, put on the news. This world is in big trouble from bottom to top. And Rumi says, can be quickly healed. Can be quickly healed with the balm of love. How powerful is that? You'll not hear this in the news. You'll not hear this in the speech by some leader. But let me tell you, it can be quickly healed with the balm of love. It's a whole other order, it's a whole other magnitude of intelligence. So your simple radiation of this love, like a gentle breeze, even to have the attitude of love, even if you don't feel much, even if you're feeling all blocked and heavy and tired, and that's totally fine. Have the attitude of love. And that'll take whatever you have, whatever you are presently feeling. Some of you are feeling tired, or some of you are feeling sleepy, or some of you are feeling blocked, or even grieving, or even sick. But the love will take that experience and it'll alleviate someone, somewhere, somehow. It'll alleviate resistance, which means it'll alleviate suffering. And that first someone is you. One of my teachers said that he was asked about healing in ancient times. And he smiled and said, healing in ancient times depended on two things. It depended on vibration and love, sound and love, mantra and love. So the sages would recite the right mantra in the right cadence, in the right frequency, in the right tonality. That, coupled with loving intention, would create healing. Perhaps this is where our medicine is going towards. Eventually, it will not be so much dependent on drugs. It'll be more based on frequency. That's what my intuition says. So when asked further, the teacher said, and actually, between these two, the frequency, like you could say the sound, the mantra, and love, between these two, it's actually mostly just the love. It's actually just the love. That's what's really doing the healing. Even if you say the mantra wrong, some of us, we pronounce, people like me, when we do the Sanskrit chants, we pretty much massacre the chants. But it's all right, because even more important than the chant and the precision of the chant is the intention behind the chant. And that is love. And that is the real sum and substance of the blessing, of the equilibrating power of that intervention. Years back, I was doing a program for a large company. We called it Anandam. And so looking for some music online, I found very nice, what would you call it? It was sung by Pandit Jasraj. And with Aaj to Anand, Anand. It was his way of chanting the Purnamada mantra. And he kept singing, Aaj to Anand, Anand, Aaj to Anand, Anand. I would play the song for you, but because this is getting streamed on YouTube, it's going to get copyright blocked. You can look for that song yourself. But the point is, when you are in that state of Purnamada, Purnamadam, this moment is whole and complete. Then automatically that moment is whole and complete. This is complete, that is complete. When you take this, which is complete, from that which is complete, what's left is also complete, whole and complete. And this recognition, Purnamada Purnamadam, Purnat Purnamadachati, Purnasya Purnamadaya, Purnameva Visheshati. Ajato Ananda Anand. My way of looking at what's happening in the world is these are birthing pains. This is not just a little inconvenience. This is a birthing pain of a larger consciousness that needs to be born. We have been in a certain state for long enough based on fragmentation. When the native people the natives who live in the deep forests of South America and other parts of the world, when when they talk about our so-called civilization, according to them, we are living a nightmare. The level of disconnection we have from the trees and the clouds and the mountains and the rivers, and how we see them as just something to be used. From their perspective, we are living a nightmare. We may think that we're very advanced, but from their perspective, it's a nightmare. And anywhere this way of thinking goes, wherever we go, it's like a virus. The trees get cut. The skies, when there was a lockdown in Pune, where I live, the skies became so blue. Like, wow, that's the original color of the sky. So the way I see what's happening right now, apart from the obvious strife and suffering, is it is actually a birthing pain of a larger consciousness that needs to happen. It's not just about how can we quickly get this under control and go back to life as always. That would be a very short-sighted way of looking at it, perhaps. So I encourage you to try on a new perspective, that this is a birthing pain for a new kind of perception, new kind of thinking, new kind of prioritization. And life is not vindictive, it is corrective. It's here to correct our misunderstanding. And as you attend these sessions at 10:30 each night, we take up one aspect or the other, and we gently correct our perceptions. So then each one of us is already in alignment with that new consciousness that wants to be born. In fact, in some sense, we are the harbingers of that. We are the pioneers of that. In my experience, more than in my experience, in my understanding, this is the way to ride the storm. Just like a surfer rides the waves. Those of us who create this inner shift to whatever extent we do, to that extent, we go through this entire upheaval, and so do our families, and so do our friends, and so does our business, and so does our work, in a far more elegant way, in a far more graceful way, in a far more easeful way, guided, supported every step of the way. Like you're in a bubble, insulated. The Buddha gave the example of the wise ones living on top of a tall of a high mountain, and those who were negligent, like a big flood, a big tsunami, wiping away homes, wiping away villages. And while of course we feel compassion for them, what can be done? So what can be done is that we elevate our consciousness, and by the elevation of our consciousness, all those who need to be inspired, need to be touched, they get touched. And those who are not meant to be touched. Nothing is wrong in this world. That too has a deeper purpose. There's no mistake. So my intention is that each one of us are predominantly radiating and established in the levels of consciousness of acceptance and above. Acceptance, reason, love, joy, peace, oneness, and the full ecstatic union with the nothingness that we are and the everythingness that we are. And nothing less will do. I love this phrase by John Kabat-Zinn. One of his books is called Full Catastrophe Living. Full catastrophe living. We have to go all the way. All the way. So any half-heartedness on my part or your part, that's going to be our downfall. Like any negligence in making that boat is 99.9% waterproof. 1%, 0.1%, the water comes in. But that's going to be the downfall of that boat. So to be completely watertight, let your entire being be saturated with this gentle radiance of love. Like a bulb has gone on inside. The bulb has gone on inside. There is no room for any shadow to lurk. There is no room for any yes, but or postponement to happen. It's too late. I love this quote by Dogen Zenji. He says, it's too late to be prepared. It's too late to be prepared. Just step in now. The ego says, when things line up, when things are fine, then I'll be at peace. And our deeper nature says, no, you be at peace now. Then things will take care of themselves. So the basic shift here is from the earlier consciousness might have been, where am I going? New consciousness that we're talking about is, where am I coming from? And by coming from, I don't mean historically, where are you coming from? In this moment, what stance of consciousness are you coming from? You're coming from love, which is the recognition of yourself and everything. Or are you coming from fear, which is false evidence appearing real? So more important than, where am I going? What's going to happen? Which is the old consciousness. Where am I coming from? Begin with end in mind. Don't wait for things to normalize and everyone to be fit and fine, and economy to be back, and stock market to be up, and maids to return, and all the other things you're waiting for to happen. Don't wait for that to be at peace. You be at peace first. You be in a state of radiating love first. Let that be the priority. That's how you stop being a victim. That's how you empower yourself. That's how there is a deep sense of surrender and trust. A very powerful short thing I read on Facebook years back. If we pray to God to change our situation, not knowing the situation was given to change us. I was invited by yesterday a Singaporean group. Some of them might be here in today's call as well. Let's pray for India. Let's pray for India. Yes, let's pray for India, but do you realize that what's happening in India was designed for you to elevate your consciousness? It's not that you're going to pray to India to equilibrate India. What's happening in India is to equilibrate you. Is that in the realm of possibility? Yatha drishti tatha shrishti. Yad bhavan tad bhavati. As you see, so you experience. As you feel, so it is. I'd like to end with a chant. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vidyacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu anuttaro purisa dhamma sarathi sattha deva manussanam buddho bhagavati swakhato bhagavata dhammo sanditthiko akaliko ehipasiko aupanayiko pachattang veditabbo vinyohiti supatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sangho न्यायपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो सामीजिपटिपन्नो भगवतो सावकसङ्घो यदिदं चत्तारि पुरुषयुगानि अट्टपुरुषपुग्गला एष भगवतो सावकसङ्घो आहुनैयो पाहुनैयो दक्षिणैयो अञ्जलिकरणीयो अनुत्तरं पुण्यक्षेत्रं लोकस्साति ये च बुद्धा अतीता च ये च बुद्धा अनागता पच्युत्पन्ना च ये बुद्धा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं बुद्धो मे शरणं वरं एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सुस्थिते होतु सर्वदा ये च धम्मा अतीता च ये च धम्मा अनागता पच्युत्पन्ना च ये धम्मा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं धम्मो मे शरणं वरं एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सुस्थिते होतु सर्वदा ये च सङ्घा अतीता च ये च सङ्घा अनागता पच्युत्पन्ना च ये सङ्घा अहं वन्दामि सर्वदा नत्ति मे शरणं अन्यं सङ्घो मे शरणं वरं एतेन सच्चवज्जेन सोत्थिते होतु सर्वदा भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वबुद्धानुभावेन सदा सोत्थि भवन्तु ते भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वधर्मानुभावेन सदा सोत्थि भवन्तु ते भवतु सर्वमङ्गलं रक्षन्तु सर्वदेवता सर्वसङ्घानुभावेन सदा सोत्थि भवन्तु ते ॐ तारतु तारे तुरे सोहा 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 Ong ahong bang zaguru padma siddhi hong. 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 Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parme Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parme Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parme Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parme Om Kriya Babaji Namo Om Kriya Babaji Namo Om Kriya Babaji Namo Om Kriya Babaji Nama, Kriya Babaji Nama, Kriya Babaji Nama, Kriya Babaji Nama. Om Kriya Babaji Nama. Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram, Om Shri Sai Ram. आपसे ही हो सारे काम ओम श्री साई राम ओम श्री साई राम आपसे ही हो सारे काम ओम श्री साई राम ओम श्री साई राम Divine, 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 together divine, together divine, together divine, together divine. Life is for giving love, life is for giving love, life is for giving love. Forgiving, 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 forgiving. Life is forgiving love. Life is forgiving love. Life is forgiving love. I give you my love. I give you my heart, and I receive your love, and I receive your heart. I give you all my love. I give you my heart, and I receive your love, and I receive your heart. May I be a channel of blessings for someone today. May I be a channel of blessings for someone today. I am now a channel of blessings, of love, of light in the world, for the world, as the world. You are now a channel of blessings for someone today. Would you be a channel of blessings, a channel of light, a channel of wisdom in the world, for the world, as the world? We are now a channel of blessing. We are now clear channels of blessing, bright channels of blessings, transparent channels of blessing, radiant channels of blessings, channels of fast blessings, channel of deep blessings, channel of appropriate blessings, channel of infinite blessings, channel of intelligent blessings, channel of potent blessings, channel of the most pure blessings, of divine blessings, of graceful blessings, of limitless blessings, channel of boundless blessings, of the most precise, appropriate, effective, and penetrative blessings in the world, in the world, in the world. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. In the beginning, you think that you're doing these practices and you're showing up for these sessions and you're doing these practices. But as you go along, you realize that that's just an illusion. You're actually quite blessed to be chosen. This intelligence of love. You think you're generating love? No, love has chosen to use you as a vessel. And that's where it really gets interesting. You start realizing that, like, for example, if you believe in some god or deity, or, if you, oh, I'm praying to this god and deity. No, it's not like that. They've chosen you to remember them. It's so fascinating. So that's when it really strikes hard. It really cuts down the sense of egoic effort and endeavor. So if any of you have come for these sessions, whether on your own volition or someone dragged you for it, it's not a coincidence. The fact that you've sat through long enough to be here right now. So yeah, it's something really precious. There's a beautiful word in Pali, dullabo, dullabo. And while we think there are so many 8 billion humans on the planet, actually it's dullabo. To be born as a human being is dullabo. There is probably more bacteria in a single spoonful of earth than there are humans on this entire planet. So dullabo, it is rare to be born as a human. It is rare to be born as a healthy human. It is rare to be born as a human in a place where you have freedom to think and explore your experience. It is rare to come across teachings that reflect back to you your own true nature, as opposed to only focusing on sense pleasure And of course, there's nothing wrong with sense pleasure, but to spend one's whole life on just seeing and smelling and tasting nice things is like using an aeroplane as a tractor, is like using a diamond as a paperweight. So the deeper potencies and possibilities here, and to be exposed to such teachings itself is dullabo, precious, rare. And having been exposed to have interest in faith is dullabo, it's rare. Not everyone gets that interest in faith. A lot of people just dismiss it. And having had that interest in faith, then to make an effort to practice it as opposed to just intellectualize it, that is also dullabo. It is rare, it is precious. And then to persist in that practice and not just give up and say, oh, I can't do this, it's too hard for me. Oh, I'm not meant for this. That is also even more dullabo, precious, precious. And having sustained and returned to the practice again and again and again, just like when you wear your shoes over a period of time, the soles take on a familiar pattern, your way of walking. Or if you wear the same slippers again and again, the insole starts taking a certain shape of your foot. Or if you use a particular carpentry tool for a long time, the handle of that carpentry tool starts taking the shape of the grip that you have. In the same way, this repeated immersion in the practices, then they start leaving an imprint, the imprint of truth, the imprint of transparency, the imprint of innocence on your being. Dullabo, dullabo. And then for that to deepen enough, for there to be a fruition where that critical moment where it shifts from personality view to process view, from imagining I am doing all of this to it is happening, it is happening. Dullabo, very precious. So for this to enhance the effectiveness of thoughts, words, and actions, for it to lead to concentration, for it to lead to wisdom, which is the intuitive knowing, the intuitive understanding of how the body mind do their thing, especially as it relates to suffering and the release from suffering. That intuitive understanding, what leads to suffering and what releases one from suffering. A Zen master might not have understanding of the neurobiology of the brain, but they do have understanding of what creates suffering and doesn't create suffering. That's probably the most important thing to know. My teacher Ajahn Chah was asked, how come, having not even finished school, great professors, great learned people would come from around the world to study with him? And he asked the people, so have you seen a chicken? Have you seen a centipede? How many legs does a chicken have? How many legs does a centipede have? Chicken has got 2 legs, they'd say. Centipede got 100 feet, 100 legs. So Ajahn Chah would say, so who wins? Chicken in 1 second eats up the centipede and swallows it up. So it's not about having endless knowledge, which is what we're conditioned to think, and to read endless books and attend endless courses and go to endless spiritual teachers. That's fine if you're attracted to that, but really it's about the intuitive understanding of what creates resistance and what dissolves resistance, what creates fear and what dissolves fear, what creates separation and what dissolves separation. So this intuitive understanding, for it to arise, that is dullabo. Dullabo is precious. It is exceedingly rare, exceedingly precious. And for that to come into full fruition, so that there's the proper, there's a beautiful word, Gorgian knot. Gorgian knot is something which is pretty much impossible to resolve. So in this practice, you come to an understanding that this body and mind. The other day, I was looking at my eyes in the mirror. These tiny, tiny veins, tiny, tiny, arteries. What is this body filled with pipes from head to toe? It's a Gorgian knot. Body and mind, Gorgian knot. How do you resolve this? You cannot resolve this, you see. It cannot be resolved. It can only be dissolved. So that wisdom dissolves it. The practice we did today, it's going to dissolve it. It's going to dissolve your identity of who you think you are. It's not going to resolve it. Resolving it, you will be in talk therapy for your whole life. Nothing's going to get resolved. It may get slightly alleviated or relaxed or loosened. It's not going to get dissolved like that. You've got to go to the root, and that's where the dissolution happens. And that is dullabo, dullabo, exceedingly rare, exceedingly precious. So many of these exceedingly rare and precious things have already happened for you to just attend this session. It's exceedingly rare, exceedingly precious. Not everyone recognizes that. So when you've been given something precious, then treat it as precious. Goenka ji had a nice doha. Chahe to tukra chalo, chahe ang lagao. Teen lok ki sampada, pade tumhare paao. Chahe to tukra chalo, chahe ang lagao. Teen lok ki sampada, pade tumhare paao. So you can either kick it away as trash, or you can embrace it and internalize it and integrate it. Teen loka ki sampada, what is most precious in the three worlds, the lower world, this world, and the higher world, that is now at your feet. So, in India, we touch each other's feet. That is a sign of respect. Pick up what's at your own feet. Touch your own roots. Touch your own feet. And be kind to yourself. How do you be kind to yourself? You elevate your own consciousness. And when you're kind to yourself, like the airplane, they say, put on your mask for helping others. You take care of your consciousness, everything starts falling in line. You'll be amazed how, Swami Vivekananda was hesitant to follow Ramakrishna Paramahansa. He said, I've got a mother at home, I've got sisters at home. My father's passed away. How can I take care of them? How can I leave them? And Ramakrishna Paramahansa said, you think you're taking care of them. What an illusion you have. That which is taking care of the whole universe is taking care of them. But he was still very hesitant. How can I leave my mother behind? How can I leave my sisters behind? And Ramakrishna Paramahansa just touched his forehead. And he went into such an ecstasy. He woke up to his true nature. So how many lifetimes we've been playing this game of, oh, this responsibility, that responsibility. You keep running around. Before you know it, life is over. As we've seen to happen to so many people in the last few weeks and months. So hopefully now, through some awakening of wisdom, the priorities get a little straightened up. And we recognize that which is truly valuable, and we see that as valuable. And we don't get one more time hypnotized into running after what is an illusion. So that is the session for today. How wonderful. Very nice, everybody. Please take a nice deep breath. And whenever you're ready, you can emerge or you can fall asleep. Some of you already fallen asleep. It's all going to your subconscious mind. All right, be well. Good day, good night, wherever you are. Bye-bye.